This episode is in response to the number one question I receive from viewers and students. The question that I get asked all the time is, how do you find these books? By these books, they mean the ones I discuss and recommend. So I'd like to spend some time today answering that question. Why should you listen to me? The short answer, this is what I do for a living. I spent decades as a reader and in, well, professoring. I've learned a lot from missteps, and I've been going through a good deal of ebbs and flows in my practice for years. I've had gaps and successes in equal measure. I've held strong beliefs, and I've also given them up. These are the ideas that I've learned from just some of the hard-won experience and intense education that I've had over the years. I'm going to start out with the simple answers and work toward the bigger picture. My final tip by far is the most important to any reading routine. This video is not meant to be a how-to, but if you happen to find the advice that you like, I hope that it helps improve the quality of your reading life. That's, of course, the goal for all of this. Let's start out with the quick, practical tips. But eventually, we're going to work our way to some of the reading philosophies that'll help sustain you for the long term and will keep you reading, get you reading, or even bring you back to reading. These ideas are all about the things that actually matter for your personal fulfillment: passion, enrichment, and curiosity. Let's just list some of these tips out first of all, and I'll explain them along the way. These are going to be concrete ways that you can find the good stuff, the books that are going to keep you going, keep you moving. But just a warning, this is also the way book addiction starts. Number one, try starting book-only accounts or an account for YouTube and other social media. Then, with that account, follow other book-related accounts on social media. If you found your way here, then you've taken the first step. Next, you'll probably receive recommendations from YouTube. You've received those recommendations because something in your search patterns suggests that you may like whoever comes next. Also, book people on YouTube love talking to and about each other. So follow those mentions that you see and subscribe to people who consistently give you good advice that you'd like. Book people on social media love making lists, so try to check out those episodes. The reason that I advise starting book-only accounts is that many people get into reading to retrain their brains and their attention spans. Beginning a book-only account will insulate you from doom scrolling and other bad social media habits that these platforms often encourage. Now, will it solve things completely? No. But when I did this, I noticed a big difference when I did. I started getting more of the content that focused solely on books. Warning. This is not a complete solution because you can easily get addicted to looking for books. Number two, follow awards. Some YouTubers devote their entire channels to the annual churn of literary awards. If you're someone who likes the charge of award season, and I know that you're out there, you can have this feeling year-round with book awards. Prizes occur for most things book-related most of the year. They exist for specific genres, tastes, levels, and social orientations. Here are a few examples. We have the Hugo Award for Science Fiction, Ernest J. Gaines Award for Literary Excellence from African American Authors, Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in the United States, Coretta Scott King Book Award for African American authors and illustrators of books for children. the Booker Prize for books published in the UK in English, Bram Stoker Award for horror writing, the Women's Prize for fiction, the Newbery Medal for American children's literature, Edgar Wright Award for crime and mystery, and Kane Prize for African writing. Those are just a few. The trick here is to follow the long and the short lists. Many awards begin their season with a long list, then they narrow it to a short list right before choosing a winner. You can find a great range of books this way, and many judges will release something called their judges report. These reports are going to explain their selection process. So if you're looking for specific subjects or you're looking for approaches, these reports will put you on the right path. Number 3, follow publishers other than the big ones. If you notice certain publishers popping up again and again in your reads, take a look at their catalog and or keep up to date with their seasonal releases. You can find both of these on their web pages. And here's a quick note about publishing. 80% of the publishing market is dominated by 5 publishers. They are Penguin Random House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Hachette Book Group, and Macmillan. They all also own a lot of imprints, so sometimes that quote-unquote indie press that you love so much may not actually be so independent. Just a pro tip. The reason that I mention the big publishers is that they tend to publish really about everything. So their catalogs are not taste or genre specific. This means that the book that you like will not necessarily have anything to do with that next book that you buy from that same big publisher. Some university presses and most independent presses have to narrow their focus to a portion of the market, and they do this for financial and practical reasons. Number 1, they want to keep their readers coming back if they like those books. And number 2, they'll have smaller editorial staffs. And I know from experience that these people have personality. They also have patterns to their selections. Those patterns will show up in the kinds of books that they publish. So if you find one that you like, keep on going back to it. Number 4, survey known literary journals. This is more for people who become serious about studying literature. Scholarly journals have websites. So if you know the name of a couple like Modern Fiction, Comparative Literature, and American Literary History, you can hop over to their web presence, and they do sometimes have access to articles on their webpage. Sometimes even at the very least, they have a table of contents that you can see on each issue. Or better yet, if you are someone with a .edu email, you can use your library databases for free research articles, and you can look up the books that you like and read what people have to say. This is an excellent way to find more established fiction. These are books that are taught in university settings. So for serious readers, you can also scan articles, works cited, to find additional texts. Probably one of the best ways to do research as well. Number 5, follow your local library and your nearest city library. I love New York, Chicago, and Portland public library pages. They have excellent curated lists that renew weekly and monthly. Check out the Chicago Public Library page, for example. They have a couple reading lists that you can peruse. I like to check their lists for literary fiction, science fiction, historical fiction, and others. And I'd say that even if you have a broad knowledge of books or are more into classics, these lists can jog your memory, particularly because it's impossible to remember every book that you may like to read. Number 6, follow free book and review sites. Several websites and online forums have excellent articles and curated lists as well. I'll give you a couple of my go-tos. My two most frequented sites are LitHub and Electric Literature. An unofficial, unscientific poll revealed that LitHub seems to have more content as well as extensive partnerships. A survey of the site reveals a pretty robust offering of articles, editorials, reviews, and recommendations. While LitHub appears to be a little bit more institutional, I'm not sure if that description quite classifies them. They have a mix of conventional and unconventional takes that really a lot of people will like. Electric Literature, on the other hand, is skewed towards contemporary literature, and it feels more punk rock than LitHub. Both are excellent places for contemporary writing. Book Riot is a similar online book magazine. I know a little less about them, but I use their site frequently. Their presence is a lot less robust than the previous two websites. N+1 is an online magazine, and some of their content may be behind a paywall, but they still have excellent articles. In fact, of all of these other sites, N+1's writing has the most depth. Their content offers an academic point of view with particular interest to audiences who may be former, lapsed, or current English majors. My two favorite book review sites are Kirkus Reviews and Rain Taxi. Rain Taxi feels more independent. I've actually known quite a few people who've written book reviews for them, just as an independent writer. They are more open to those independent voices. When I was publishing in the 90s, Kirkus Reviews was known for being the snobby, elitist review site. They had very tough book reviews. I don't know if this is the case anymore, but what I can tell you is that they have excellent book reviews, curated lists, and their annual book award is actually one of my favorites right now. They tend to take more risks with their nominations than both the Booker and the Pulitzer. I don't hesitate when sending any book lover of any variety to the Kirkus review site. Number 7, my final practical tip is to look at connections between authors. Not only is it important to find out who they read, but if you'd like a full perspective of their work, you should also investigate to whom their work responds. You can do this in a couple of ways. Interviews and nonfiction writings from the author themselves will definitely help. Authors, regardless of era, love discussing who they've read, and they may also offer some inside dirt on some of the other authors. Food for thought. So, for example, Richard Wright loved to talk about his fellow writers. I also read an old British author from the 18th century named James Boswell. He loved to write about his friend Samuel Johnson and other literary celebrities like Rousseau and Voltaire. Recently, I also did a video on Jose Donoso, who's a 20th century Chilean novelist. During my research, I came across several interviews, and he couldn't stop talking about other authors. They came up all the time. In fact, he mentioned an author that I have planned for a future read. The writer's name is Ernesto Sabato. He wrote Heroes in Tombs, to which the obscene bird of night responds. If you have access, you can also find author connections in literary journals. Scholars will give you a deep rundown of literary connections and analysis. However, as you probably know, the writing can be dense. You'll want to stick around for these last tips because these are going to make a big difference in your reading. I tell people all the time that at least one book exists for every person in the world. Realistically, though, you'll have more than one. Likely, you'll have 50, 100, or even thousands of books that will satisfy your curiosity and enliven your mind. The following steps will help you discover books that are right for you. You can do more. And actually, these next steps will make your life easier. And who doesn't want that? Stay tuned for the last tip because it'll make the biggest difference in your life. Number 8, make room for your energy level. Unless you are in an actual competition, reading is not a competition. It's something that we mostly do within our solitary spaces of our minds. Forget comparisons with others. Reduce friction and save books that will honor your different energy levels. Nothing is going to kill your desire to read more than if you are fighting your way through an entire novel. But if you match your book to your energy, reading can feel restorative and/or fulfilling. The goal is to work with yourself, not against yourself. If you know you're going to be busy, short books might just be the thing. If you feel contemplative, perhaps take in a deeper, more immersive book. If you're up for the challenge, take on that book you always wanted to read. Many people have different strategies and approaches. I try to have 3 books going at once. Currently, my 3 books are Fernanda Melchor's Hurricane Season, that's translated by Sophie Hughes. I also have Colson Whitehead's Harlem Shuffle on deck, and I'm also making my way very slowly through Herman Melville's Moby Dick. I think I'm finally going to finish it. These authors offer different types of writing, which means that when I read, I have a selection based on my current motivations or current mood. Number 9, melt those confidence barriers. Read 10 at a time. Almost everyone has doubted their ability to read. Books can feel intimidating, especially when a book's legend precedes it. However, I need you to hear this. You are allowed to read whatever book you want, whatever length, whatever density, whatever subject. None of it is actually off limits to you. Yes, a book may challenge you, but so what? You don't need special permission, time, or access. Just open the book and get started. So many people want you to have what's in those pages. We're all cheering for you. The challenge, however, is the point. But guess what? You get to control that challenge however you want. So with any intimidating book, here's what you do. Start with just 10 pages. Just 10 pages. If you don't spontaneously combust after the first 10 pages, guess what? Try 10 more pages, whatever time you want. You can also take whatever time you want with that whole novel. So if there's a book that's been sitting on your shelf, or maybe on your list, and the only thing stopping you is some voice that's saying, no, that's not for me, that's exactly the book that I want you to pick up. Melt that barrier and just open that book. It'll give you incredible freedom to find and explore all sorts of insight, and a whole new avenue will open for you. You can feel free to select whatever books come your way. Perhaps this won't be instantaneous confidence, realistically, but I promise you, no one has ever perished from trying a book. Number 10, make book friends. Yes, I realize I said earlier that reading is a solitary activity. That's still true. The act of reading is solitary, but investigating, processing, and discussing books is absolutely a communal activity. Your quality of reading will be enhanced by general discussion. You can read and select books with a group. So if you simply aren't certain about selecting books, this can be a good way to go for you. Books will be selected with or without you, but you get the benefit of co reading with other people in those environments. You can join in any way that you like. Book groups take on different shapes and different mediums. You can, for example, do this online. The most popular formats include asynchronous book groups. Many of your favorite online book people will actually have a book group of some sort. They've become pretty popular to start. They can make great places to invest as little or as much time as you want. Many online book groups have synchronous formats as well. Discord, for example, has become a great place for live discussions. I've been in several. You can find book groups in person as well. Most libraries have multiple book discussion groups. Many bookstores will have them because, well, they like selling books, and that's a good way to sell books. And then finally, community colleges. Community colleges are a great way to get a little more serious about literature if you'd like to. Classes are surprisingly affordable, and you'll often find that there are passionate instructors who lead you through the term. I have a doctorate, and I still like taking advantage of all those opportunities. Even though graduate school was hard and I don't want to go do it again, I would, but I don't want to. I do miss having that camaraderie, even if that camaraderie was over mutual contempt for some of the authors that we read. Number 11, we're almost there. Set curiosity goals. If you have a favorite subject, drop your phone, look to books. You'll find way more depth and fulfillment through the kind of deep exploration that occurs in books. I don't mean just nonfiction. In fact, I primarily mean set curiosity goals through fiction. Fiction will tell you how people think because human beings learn through connections and narrative. They've been doing it for hundreds and thousands of years. Fiction gives people a 360-degree experience of reason, emotion, events, structure, cultural impact, and more. To be clear, however, nonfiction has some truly awesome storytellers who write about real events. Here's how curiosity will help you. Fiction writers tend to group around social, cultural, economic, historical, and philosophical problems. Because fiction, actually, here's the secret, isn't just about writing stories. More to the point, narratives and all of these authors are trying to figure it out. Just by picking up books on a theme, you can find whole discussions through time and place. From big topics like our relationships with technology and dealing with grief, to stories about whales, dragons, and myths, you can find a whole conversation from books. This is actually what literary scholars do. I, for example, have a couple of long-term projects that are playing out on YouTube. I, for example, don't know much about Latin American history and culture, at least not as much as I thought. So I'm trying to read through the big cultural touchstones and lost gems of the past centuries so that I can understand more about what's going on. I also began a series on AI. Now, is that going to teach me anything specifically about AI? It might. I like to return to that subject again at some point and figure out some more. And as always, I want to understand more about the important conversations going on in Black American literature. This is one of my primary fields of interest. Finally, I like to keep up to date with contemporary novels. It just simply keeps me current on publishing trends. Number 12, follow the love. This final point is the most important. It's key to all of this other stuff. Find out what you love reading. Pay attention to what genuinely excites you, not the algorithm, not trending searches, what actually hits your lights. It's a quote, a character, a story, or a question. That thing, follow that. The best way to be a lifelong reader and read the best books ever will be to keep to your own principles, preferences, energy levels, curiosity, and lifestyle. Of course, I recommend reading widely and deeply, and all of that can be a part of what you love. But you'll not do that if you can't follow your own guiding love and passion for reading. Treat your reading with care. There are thousands of books for you. Go out and find them. That's it. These are the practical tools to help you select books. If any of this was useful to you, I'd love to know. Drop a comment below and tell me, how do you find your books? Because I guarantee that someone in this community is going to read something wonderful because of what you share. That's the magic of book people. This has been Tilting at Tomes. I'm Ben. Keep reading those great books.